This is John for Global Traveler. Today I'm talking travel with college student, Loyola Marymount grad student, Jorge Posada. How are you, sir?
Good, good. Nice to be here. Nice to talk to you.
Nice to meet you, sir. We've exchanged a little bit, online. Can you tell us a little bit about just real brief, a little bit about yourself?
As you said, I've been a student at Loyola Marymount for the past 3 years, and undergraduate I did at the University of Miami in Miami, Florida. I've been studying film and primarily through a television track to be a writer and producer. I've just been working on that for a very long time. I've always loved to create things ever since I was little, because I've been blessed with the opportunity to have a lot of time to spend with my loved ones, my friends, my family, just creating. So it's something that I've always enjoyed doing. I feel like we always need something else in our life to kind of escape to and find refuge in, and mine was creation.
Well, you're working on a project, a film project. We're going to discuss that a little bit later. First, I want to get through a few other topics, one of which is near and dear to my heart. As I explained to you in our email exchange, you and I share a condition. We were both born with craniosynostosis. For folks who don't know, that's a premature closing of the sutures in the skull. So when a baby's born, you've got little gaps there to allow the brain, everything to grow. Unfortunately for us, some of those gaps were closed early. Now, your father is Jorge Posada, former legendary New York Yankees catcher. Your mother, Laura, is a model, a television host. They wrote a fascinating book. It's truly one of my favorite books. I read this probably at least once or twice a year. It just moves me to tears every time. Could you tell us a little bit about your journey with craniosynostosis?
Yeah. I think. I mean, yeah, that book's gonna give you a better emotional payoff than anything I could ever say, because something that I've always thought and said whenever I talk about my own experience with craniosynostosis is that I find that it was just as much and maybe even more their journey than mine, because they had to deal with it at the worst stages. I mean, birth and those early stages, like the infection that I got when I was about 1 year old. That's something that I can't remember. It's something that but I know through their love. I see it in the way they treated me as I grew up, and I was a little bit of a super energetic child. And my perspective on the whole thing was just, it was a little ridiculous. I treated it a lot less seriously than I should have. I had kids poking my skull.
Oh,
I, yeah, I was like, look, I got holes. And
yeah.
yeah, I would run around playing with it as if it were a toy. And whenever they would tell me, "Hey, like put on a helmet or be careful with your head," I would just kind of treat it lackadaisically. And I do remember there was one surgery in particular that kind of put things into perspective. I was about 11 years old, and I received a surgery, just like open head, and it was the first one that I had the full consciousness of, like, and awareness for, like, entire awareness. And I'd had several surgeries up to that point. Not saying I couldn't remember any of them, but this was the one that really landed with me. It was the last one that I needed to have fillings done for. So they were getting bone composite, taking some of the steel out of my skull and replacing it with that bone composite. And I remember the first thing I did when I woke up, after I'd been in and out of sleep, first thing I did was try to stand up. First thing, immediately. And the nurse told me, "No, you have to sit back down. You can't do that. You're not ready to stand. You won't be ready to stand for another day." And I stood up, and I just stood there, and I looked at her because, again, as a bratty little child, my first thought was, no one can tell me what to do. I'm okay. I know I'm okay. And I wasn't. And I just stood there, and I couldn't stand. So I fell back down onto the chair, thankfully. And over a process of about a week, I remember describing it as the process of being born again, but this time with all the faculties of the human brain active, conscious for the things that we could and could not do. I had to learn how to walk again.
Wow.
I had to learn how to like move, and my motor functions were slowly coming back to me. And it was something that I'd never experienced before. None of the other surgeries had ever left me in such a state, and nothing had gone wrong, thankfully. It was just the nature of my body recovering from such an injury. And I personally found that experience really enlightening and really clarifying, because it just made me think like you never know. You never know like what you have, and it also gave me an appreciation for life in general, how we're able to go from baby, 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 unable to do anything, and we're taught and caressed with just copious amounts of love and care to become what we are, capable, individual, and communal. But yeah, that surgery in particular probably encapsulates my whole experience more than anything else, because I felt that outpouring of love, and that's what it taught me, that I was in a position of great, great, great fortune to be surrounded by people who were capable of supporting me through it, which is not something that everyone is fortunate enough to have, which is why my family started the foundation, the Jorge Posada Foundation, which would go around and support people that were, in similar positions to me, but not as fortunate, with craniosynostosis, to you and I. But yeah, that pretty much encapsulates my own personal feelings on at least my
Sure.
specific experience.
So after the surgery on when you said you were 11, and
Yeah,
after the recovery of that, obviously,
yeah.
pretty much were you done with all the surgeries and procedures, and like at that point on, it was mostly just living your life?
So for the most part, yeah. The only so there are some like spots on my like in my skull that are still not perfect. So if you like really take a close look, you'll notice that like this part of my skull is like flatter than this part, which is more rectangular. There's also a small spot underneath my eyebrow where if you touch it, you feel like an indentation, and then above it, a small crack that goes up my skull. Conveniently enough, the part where my hair is parted, you can kind of like feel it down. And then something that I did when I was 14 was I really wanted to cover up my scar on the left side, or sorry, on the right side of my head, because it was very, very large. So what I did was I had hair grafted from the back of my head and put it here. I didn't do it like completely, so if I wanted to do that again, I could. Um, but for the time being, I think I'm just laying low, staying slow. But there is consideration for maybe one more surgery, and the reason being that 2 years ago I was experiencing like pressure in my skull, and we just wanted to get that checked out. So uh, it's since subsided, but it's something that it's cause for concern. So that's something that next time I'm in New York, I might get that checked out, as all of my doctors that worked on my skull, they work and have lived in New York.
It's funny, not funny, but it's I share a lot of those experiences. My head is not the normal shape. I've
Of
got
course.
certain little indentations. I had like literally I had like 20 surgeries, so I've got scars. Fortunately for me, most of my surgeries were done like before I was 6, so I don't really
Oh,
remember any of
wow.
those.
That's
But
wonderful.
medical advancements have come a long way, and we pray and hope that it continues to go that way. And folks like you speaking out about it certainly help the cause. So let's move to a little bit of a lighter topic. As I said, you're the son of Jorge and Laura.
Mhm.
Both of them, in the media, in the world. did you get to do a lot of traveling with them? Obviously, both of them did a lot of traveling. Did you get to enjoy any?
Yeah, so while my dad was playing baseball, we actually kept the travel light, as we didn't want to do many like, life-changing or major experiences without him. And then in addition to that, it would have been difficult for my mom to take care of both my sister and I as we were young. And then there were also concerns about my skull. So it was only about like 2011 and beyond where we started being able to like properly travel, which wonderful, wonderful stuff. So yes, to answer your question, we did get to enjoy a lot of traveling. I don't want to assume where you're going with this, so I'll just
No, I was
yeah.
the only place I'm going is have you been any place that you particularly enjoy? Are there any places you would like to go? I mean, you're a young man, so for me, I don't generally speaking, I interview a lot of older folks, so it's interesting to get a younger man's perspective.
Yeah, I when I was younger, I actually didn't love to travel as much. But now that I'm older, I can really appreciate, especially like having retroactive experiences. Like I really, I think my favorite place in the world that I've ever been is Tokyo, Japan. Um, I really, really love the layout of that city. Um, and I've always really enjoyed like a lot of their culture, like the Japanese culture, and like the way that they have just like easy access to trains, and the city as a whole just feels really lively wherever you are, no matter where you are, extremely walkable. And I've always really loved walking, getting around, being like physically in the moment and seeing like these massive, wonderful structures. Just recently, this past year, in March, my parents and I and my girlfriend went to Tokyo and Kyoto. And I think my favorite part of that trip was the Fushimi Inari Shrine in Kyoto specifically. We um, we climbed up the entire mountain that the shrine is on, and it just felt like a really like personal and magical experience, to be able to go around and see this like really quiet place, that is normally like swarmed with tourists, but it was empty. It was
Wow.
completely empty, and it was really like something.
Have you obviously you've been to Yankee Stadium, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, plenty of time. I've run up and down there like a playground. Yeah.
It's aside from Yankee Stadium, do you have any other favorite baseball stadiums?
Favorite baseball stadiums. Um, let's see. I don't know. That's a good question. Hmm, yeah. Yeah. I really don't know. I mean, the one like it's really gonna be the ones that like I have a personal connection to, and like Tampa's always gonna be nice for that because spring training. So I still like that's also one that I often got to visit. I got to run around there and be under the dome, and I had I had a lot of fun there. But yeah, generally speaking, like the one that always stood out to me was Yankee Stadium. So part of why I had to think for a while there is because my first answer was, oh, well, the old Yankee Stadium. Because I loved it. I loved it so much. It's just a place where I have a lot of really good memories. So it was really hard to think of something that even compared to it.
Oh, I completely understand that. Absolutely.
I would actually even say that the old Yankee Stadium might be my favorite, above the new one.
I can't, I obviously I've been to both. I cannot argue against that. Just the history and knowing like the legends that
Yeah,
played in that field in front. It's
yeah.
it's it's obviously it's great for sports, but it's just such a fantastic history thing.
Hmm.
Before we start talking about your film, one last quick travel question. What is the
Please.
one or two things that you must bring on every trip?
Oh, one or two things I must bring on every trip. Okay, I'm gonna skip the like obvious like my phone. I gotta have that. But something that you said two or three or one or two?
Whatever you got. One,
All
two,
right, all
three.
right.
I'm
Uh,
easy.
yeah, let's see. Um, hmm. I'm gonna go unconventional for a second, and I'm gonna say space in your suitcase because every trip I want to have a memory that I can bring back, like a physical memory that I can bring back from that trip. So having a little bit of space in your suitcase or whatever you're bringing, just to have something, from that trip to come with you and keep with you forever. I always find that's really important. Whenever I go somewhere, I actually have some stuff right here next to me, like that I got from Japan. It's little, like
Oh,
nothing crazy, but
oh, very cool.
little things like that that I have here that I liked it, and I saw it there, and I was like, this is a really cute little, I believe this is a little like sake bowl, or you just pour it in and you drink it like that.
Sure.
But yeah, it's just it's something nice to have. And another thing, to kind of answer the question a little more conventionally. Um, I know this is kind of simple, but I like to stay clean shaven. So a razor's always good because you never know when you're gonna start developing a jungle on your face. So that's always good to have. And then last but not least, I always like to have some kind of like headphone, but like
Okay.
strong, like high quality headphones, because on the plane, wherever you're going, you're gonna run into the crying babies, the snorers, or the chatters because they're gonna be right next to you. So you gotta stay careful with that. I'd say.
Absolutely. No, I love
Yeah.
those answers. I particularly love the space answer. That's it's one of the greatest answers I've gotten on that question.
Oh yeah, I'm glad.
So, all right, let's talk about something that's near and dear to your heart. Let's talk about the Azure Eclipse 2D film that you're working on. Tell me all
Yeah,
about the project.
yeah. Well, basically, the Azure Eclipse, so it's an animated project, right? So I've been working on this project ever since May of 2024, and the basic idea is that a group of two martial artists, Gorb and Chiure, are trying to stop this plague that recently broke out, but they have no idea what caused it. So they go around and try to investigate. Gorb's mom is a doctor, so she's dealing with one of the patients, and it's revealed through the patients that they believe that Chiure caused this plague somehow with her, like with her existence, her magical presence. The idea being that every year there's a curse that descends on this island. And one of those years, there was no curse, but a girl appeared, a little young girl, that being Chiure. So they believe that she is the cause for all of these problems befalling them, and that the gods have brought about this evil child to bring them nothing but harm. So the plot of the plot of the thesis itself is the conflict between these two characters and the rest of their society, that to determine, like, it's kind of a race to determine whether or not they're able to cure it or figure it out before the town has had their has had enough
Right.
and try to finish this poor girl off. Yeah.
No, I say this is your thesis project. It's
Yeah.
a short film. Like, how long of a film is it?
So because it's animated, it's about 5 minutes.
Okay.
We're not looking to encapsulate the entirety of the story in it. Just take snippets of it, kind of creating bridges between those snippets with excuse me, sorry, creating bridges with little bits of narration. Just a 5 minute teaser is a better way to put it. A quick example of what the show might be if I were to create an episode from it. A standard episode were I to, get greenlit would be about 20 minutes. Animation tends to run on the shorter side. Usually, like a half-hour comedy is about the length you'd expect from a TV animated episode. But yeah, just about 5 minutes.
So that was my next question. You kind of beat me to it, which is fine. There is hope or at least plan to turn this into a longer term project.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I actually have two episodes of it written in the back burner that I'm going to be working on the next couple of weeks to get to the place where I want them to be. But I do have two complete episodes for the show written, and I'd hope this to be a long running thing. It wouldn't be a story that gets resolved within one season or 10 episodes, the way that we're seeing a lot lately. I'd hope to see something a little more substantial.
And I read in the Indiegogo campaign that this is something that you kind of envisioned way back when you were like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
And in the next few years from then, like, did you keep going through it and like refining it and coming up with new things and like editing it in your head?
Yeah. Fun fact, I actually have a folder right here. In this
That's
desk.
awesome.
Yeah, with a bunch of old drawings that I can kind of reach into now. I don't know. I can't speak to their quality because, to be honest, most of them are not very good. Because it takes a long time before you're good at drawing, especially
Oh
when you're a
gosh,
kid.
yeah, sure.
But yeah. For example, here, let me just pull this page out. Um, yeah, sure. So here we actually, I don't know, yeah, I don't know how well that's going to show up on Zoom. Let me try this one. All right, so,
Yeah.
they're not really showing well, but yeah, here we have Chiure, which is the character from the thesis, and I believe up here is Gorb, um, and you just, yeah, I was right. But the idea being, I'm just gonna put this away. It doesn't show up
That's
well.
awesome though. Thanks for
Yeah,
pointing it out. That is
yeah,
exciting.
no. But yeah, like those are drawings from I believe 2017. I wish I dated these. That would have been really helpful. But yeah, I have drawings in here going all the way back to when I was 5 years old. And it's just this chunky folder. Oh, there we go. Yeah, this chunky folder just full of different notebooks and old sketchbooks. I also have my iPad next to me, which also has some old drawings. For example, here Hector is one of the characters
Oh,
in the thesis.
there it is.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a more I figured this would show better. That's a more recent drawing. This one I did like in preparation for the thesis, kind of finalizing this character's design and the idea behind how he looked when he was younger, and then when he was older and became a little more hardened in his beliefs. Lost a little bit of his joy in life. Um, but yeah, like I have a ton of different drawings and stuff. Funnily enough, I didn't have that prepared. I just happened to be sitting here.
No, and I'm glad it is. Well,
Yeah,
so this is obviously for school. Will the general public, social media, will we be able to see this in its final,
yeah,
the short film?
yeah. Absolutely. I'm The idea is that we will be first showing it at LMU, and then we'll be looking at some festivals first, just to get an idea of like how it'll do, stuff like that. We have some money saved away to like send it off to some festivals, but as soon as we're done with the festival track, we'll share it to the general public, and we'll get it out there as much as we possibly can.
That is awesome. I'm very excited when I saw it. It seems like such an interesting project. I really appreciate your time. Before I let you go, tell everybody where they can find out more information about you, your project, whatever you'd like now.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't have it memorized. I'm going to very, very quickly.
That's okay.
Yeah, to my. Yeah. So it's going to be azure.eclipse.film on Instagram. And that's going to be the only place that we are, publicizing information, sharing stuff. We're actually going to start sharing stuff again tomorrow. We took a brief hiatus with the completion of the Indiegogo campaign just to work on the project. But yeah, that's gonna be where you can find me and my work. Then from there, I will share any other avenues that we open up to. I'm thinking of eventually sharing some of that work to like to YouTube. Probably is where I'm going to put the final project after the festival track, and that will be under the same email that is a part of the link tree in our bio on Instagram. But yeah, I'd say like that's where you could find me, and if you want, you could see me occasionally on my parents' Instagrams too. But yeah,
Well, that's where I found you, and like I said, I found the topic, the thesis project that you're working on. I found it very interesting, especially the history behind it, how it's basically been with you almost your whole life, and now it's coming to fruition. I think it's
yeah,
very exciting, and I look forward to seeing it come to fruition, and all the rest that happens after. You're a bright young guy. You got a lot going for you, and I just wish you well in the future, and feel free to contact me. We could do any update interview anywhere in the future, my friend.
yeah. No, thank you so much. I genuinely really appreciate it. You've been absolutely lovely. All of your questions have been well considered. And you ask them at the right time. I apologize if I ramble a little bit. I've been known to
You
do it.
were You were fine, man. It was good. Now,
All right.
all that's left is we got to get your dad into the Hall of Fame. That's
Oh, I mean, I agree. I fully agree. That is, I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand.
17 years, 1,600 and some odd hits, all-star games. I don't know what else the guy needs.
It's obvious. It's obvious. It's right there. Yeah, it's beyond me. It's
Well,
beyond me.
if I have my way, he'll eventually get in there. Not that I have my way, but
Oh, trust me. I'm right there with. I'm in front of you. Actually, I'm
I'm
the front of the
sure.
line. Yeah, I got my fist swinging. I got everything going. Yeah,
Awesome,
absolutely.
man. Well, hey, it's really been a pleasure, man, and I appreciate your time. I wish you good luck with this project and all future projects, and happy holidays.
Yeah, happy holidays. The pleasure has been all mine. Thank you so much. And yeah, have a wonderful day.
You too. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.